there, folks. Root Beer here, and hope you're all doing well. We're going to continue our look at the 2018 Euclid paper with question number 2. So we still have 3 parts here. Still 2 light bulbs and a written question. We're still easing our way into the contest. What have we got for 2A? A 5-digit integer is made using each of the digits 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. The odd numbers. Okay. The integer is greater than 8,000 and less than 92,000. Okay, so that sort of means the 9 has to be the first digit, and it will be followed by a 1. The units digit is 3. Okay, so we're really looking at 9, 1, blank, blank, 3 at this point. The hundreds digit and tens digit in that order form a 2-digit integer that is divisible by 5. What is the 5-digit integer? Okay. So there's really not a whole lot going on here. If you were looking for part marks, excuse me, and remember, you don't have to because it's a light bulb question. You can just put your final answer. But if you're looking for part marks, you might want to say, well, the number starts with 9, 1, since it is greater than 8,000 and less than 92,000. So it looks like 9, 1, blank, blank, 3. And then the question is, what goes there? So this leaves 5 and 7 to place. They can be either 5, 7 or 7, 5. Now, what's the order here? Want to be very careful. Hundreds digit and then tens digit. So the order that we would actually read them has to be a multiple of 5, or divisible by 5. Of the 2, only one of these is. 75 is the only multiple of 5. So there's no guess. The number must be 91753. And that's it. We move right along. Okay? So we'll get a fresh sheet of paper there. And what have we got for 2B? In the diagram, point D is on AC so that BD is perpendicular, which they have indicated here. We've got a 13 here and a 12 here. Immediately, I know that there's going to be a 5 here, but that's because I've done a lot of these contests. You'll find yourself with lots of right angles. You'll recognize a lot of common triangle sides like 3, 4, 5, 5, 12, 13, 8, 15, 17 is another good one, 6, 8, 10. These are all fantastic, and they're Pythagorean triples, and they're very common, so it's good to know them so that you can instinctively say, oh, that's got to be a 5 without even finishing reading. We've also got 12 root 2 over here. What is the length of AC? Well, it looks like it's just going to be a couple applications of the Pythagorean theorem. Okay, we got a couple right angle triangles. Now again, it's a light bulb question, so if we recognize the answer, we just write it in. Okay. So the sort of long way to go about doing this is to say, here's D, here's B, here's A, here's C. You might start by writing and saying, by Pythagoras, or by the Pythagorean theorem. AD squared plus BD squared is equal to AB squared. So that's AD squared plus 12 squared is equal to 13 squared. You'd rearrange and you'd say AD squared is 25. And AD is 5. Now, you can absolutely write all that out, but remember, this is question number 2. We've got a lot more contests to go through. So if you're only going to be writing, if you only think you're going to make it to the first 4 questions or so, yeah, by all means, go this slowly, make sure everything's nice, neat, in order, because you want to do those 4 questions as best as you can. Most people tend to, even when it's their first time writing Euclid, shoot a little higher, at least question 5, at least get halfway through the contest. And you don't want to be wasting time writing out the small details that aren't actually going to be earning you marks. I mean, this is 2B. There's 3 parts in question 2. Part A, it's likely worth 1, 2 marks, maybe 3. B part is probably at most 3 marks, and then there's that written part. Written parts usually are worth a bit more, so 4, maybe 5 marks. So do we really want to be writing so much that it's actually, we overkill on those 3 marks, or do we want to just be saying, all right, what are the main points? Get AD, get DC, add them together. There's your 3 marks right there. So do we have to be meticulous? No, we don't. But again, if you're not planning on writing beyond question 3 or 4, yeah, take the time, full sentences, paragraphs all the way. But it is unnecessary. Anyway, so here's sort of the faster way to do the question. If you recognize Pythagorean triples, okay, you could say, well, it's a 12-13 triangle, so AD is going to be 5. Because we got a 5-12-13 triangle. Okay. And the other thing I notice is, I've got 12 root 2 and 12. This reminds me of another well-known right-angled triangle, the Isosceles right-angled triangle, because if I've got a side length of x and x, you can do the work yourself. You can show that it's x root 2 on the side, so that immediately tells me, I've got 12 root 2 and 12 here. DC will have to be 12 as well. Because it's an Isosceles right triangle. Okay, and so AC, which is what they want, is 5 plus 12, 17, and we're done. And that's how fast you can do it when you start to recognize these things, when you do contests that quickly. But again, if you're sort of new, write out your Pythagorean theorem, write out all the details, rearrange, show your work, grab your calculator, make sure everything's good. But you're going to want to start ditching that and going a little faster and writing down just sort of the main beats of these things, especially for a light bulb question, where you don't even have to show your work to get the right answers. Okay. You don't have to show your work to get full marks. You just need the right answers. Misspoke there. Okay. So now 2C. What have we got for 2C? In the diagram, square OABC has side length of 1. Okay, it's a square, so 6 here and 6 here, I guess. Now, I'm already seeing an x and y axes, so I'm going to go ahead and add the coordinates here. So this will be 0x and 6, and this will be 6 and 0, 0, 0. Okay, the line with equation y equals 2x intersects CB at D. Determine the area of the shaded region. Alright, now the shaded region immediately looks to me like a trapezoid, so I might try and remember the formula for the area of a trapezoid. Additionally, because we got a square here, we've got some right angles, you could make a rectangle and right-angled triangle, and we know the height of that's going to be 6, so that's another way to do it. Figure out this area and then this area and add the two together. That's okay too. I'm probably going to stick with the trapezoid formula because I like it. Okay. So, there we go. I think I'd reached the end of the document, which is odd. Okay, so what have we got here? Well, we'll redraw our picture. There we go. So, y equals 2x. Okay, so that's D. I'd really like to know the distance from D to O, A, B, and C up here. Because if I know this distance, well, if I'm going to use the formula for the area of a trapezoid, how do you figure out the area of a trapezoid? You need the height, fine, that's 6. You need the base, that's 6, and you need the side parallel to the base, the two parallel sides, and then it's 1/2 h, and then the sum of the parallel sides. So I really just need to know this length. How am I going to figure out that length? Well, there's a couple things we could do. I know that B is 6, 6, so if I knew what D was, and I know D will have to be, since it's on BC, it's going to have to be something 6. Might call that x. The distance here is going to be 6 minus x. Okay. So, it's a written question, so we should probably be writing some of this stuff up. So let's write a bit more. So, D is on BC. which has equation y equals 6. So D is at x6. But D is on y equals 2x. So 6 is equal to 2x, and x is equal to 3. Okay. So, OABD, so area of OABD, is, you might even say area of trapezoid, just so that you sort of prepare them for whatever formula you're about to use. Area of the trapezoid. I recognize this as a trapezoid, and this is why I'm using the formula. That's what you're saying when you say area of trapezoid. 1/2 height, a plus b. You could even include the diagram, although I assure you, the people who are marking this stuff know how to figure out the area of a trapezoid. They know these formulas. Okay, so this is 1/2 6. And as long as you have your diagram clearly labeled, and you could even write 6 equals h or something like that, you don't need to explain how you figured out the height. Just have a clearly labeled picture. And this is going to be 3. We might even add in, so dB is equal to 6 minus x, which is 6 minus 3, which is 3. Oops. So 3 plus, well, actually, you know what? Let's do a little bit more work. It is question 2 after all. So 1/2 height, so we'll say that's AB, and then BD plus OA, and now I'll just plug these numbers in. 6, and then 3 plus 6. So I'll get 1/2 6 times 9. That'll be 3 times 9. 27. Just a quick mental check. It was a square of size 6. That is 36. And so 27 is less than 36. That's just a little quick thing that I might do in my head just to make sure. Does that number make sense? Because if I worked it out and it was 40, suddenly I've got more area than I would have started with the whole square. So I'd go back and check my work. But just a little thought that runs through my head. Incidentally, another way you could do this question is, you know the square is 6 by 6, so you know the whole area is 36. You could find a way just to subtract off the right angle triangle OCD, the non-shaded thing. And what's left when you take that away from the big square? The shaded area. Okay, so that's another way to do the question. As long as you write it up in a similar style, you'll get full marks and you'll be all set. So up next, we're going to go through question number 3. Feel free to take a look at that ahead of time, and I will see you for that in the next video. Take care.